In a world where the fire was the only boundary between safety and chaos, who would dare step beyond its circle, past the trees, past the mountains, into the unknown? 10 million years ago, Sagittarius was not only the seeker of truth, they were the one who explored the explorer of the tribe. Have you ever wondered if your zodiac sign existed not just in the modern world, but millions of years ago when humanity was still raw and fragile, clinging to survival? Imagine a world where the tribe only knew what their eyes could see, where the forest marked the edge of existence, where rivers and valleys were mysteries too dangerous to face. Fear was the wall that held them captive. Yet someone had to step outside. Someone had to test the horizon. That was Sagittarius. Sagittarius was restless even by the firelight. While others sat close to the flames, they stared beyond them, eyes following the movement of stars, ears tuned to the whispers of the wind. Curiosity burned in them stronger than hunger, louder than fear. Where others saw darkness, Sagittarius saw possibility. Where others saw danger, they felt the pull of freedom. The tribe whispered that they were reckless, but when food dwindled, when water ran low, when predators grew bold, it was Sagittarius who stood slung, a crude spear across their back, and walked into the unknown. The first time they vanished, the tribe thought they would never return. Days passed, nights stretched long. Children asked if they had been taken by beasts. But then, on the fifth dawn, Sagittarius appeared at the edge of the camp. Skin-scratched feet, torn eyes shining. They carried branches heavy with fruit none had ever seen. They carried water from a river that flowed stronger than their own. And they carried stories of valleys wide and fertile, of herds grazing beyond the hills, of a world much larger than anyone had imagined. From that day on, Sagittarius was no longer just restless, they were necessary. But their path was never easy. Exploration was not glory, but danger. There were times they returned with nothing but wounds, scratches from thorns, bites from snakes, scars from near escapes. There were times they stumbled back, half-starved lips cracked their voice hoarse with thirst. The tribe shook their heads, calling them foolish. Yet even then Sagittarius laughed, the sound wild and bright, saying, "Now we know where not to go." Every failure became a map, every scar became a lesson, and the tribe began to realize, without someone willing to risk, there was no progress. One night when hunger struck harder than ever before, the tribe argued bitterly. Some wanted to abandon their home, others wanted to cling to what little they had. The fire flickered their voices, rising like sparks. It was then that Sagittarius stood, eyes blazing, not with anger, but with vision. "There is more," they said. "Beyond the mountains I saw smoke rising. There is another river, another valley. If we go, we live. If we stay, we starve." The tribe hesitated. Fear bound them like chains. But Sagittarius stepped forward, spear lifted high, their voice fierce, I will go first. Follow me or stay behind, but I will not sit here waiting to die. And something shifted. The courage in their stance spread like fire. One by one, others rose, gathering what little they had. The next morning, guided by Sagittarius, the tribe left their old camp and walked toward a new horizon. The journey was brutal, steep cliffs, swollen rivers, storms that lashed their backs. But each time doubt grew heavy, Sagittarius lifted their face to the sky, pointed toward the stars, and reminded them forward. Days later, they reached a valley lush with game water and shelter. The tribe wept with relief. They had survived not by staying safe, but by daring to move. That was Sagittarius's first gift to trade fear for freedom. Another time, they wandered further than ever before. Alone, guided only by the stars, they pressed on through endless nights. The forest gave way to wide plains, and the plains to towering mountains. They climbed higher, breathing thin air, hands bleeding against stone. When they reached the summit, they saw the world unfold beneath them. Valleys, rivers, herds, skies wider than their dreams. For a moment, they forgot hunger and pain. They laughed aloud, the sound carried by wind echoing across peaks. It was not just discovery. It was joy, the joy of knowing life was bigger than the cage of fear. When they returned, battered but alive, they brought not only food and water, but also a fire inside their words. Around the campfire, they described the horizon in ways that lit sparks in every listener's heart. Children dreamed of faraway lands. Warriors found strength in the thought of new hunts. Even the elders, once bound to caution, felt the thrill of possibility. Sagittarius gave the tribe more than survival, they gave them vision. But this role came with loneliness. Not everyone understood the hunger in their soul. While others found comfort in routine, Sagittarius longed for movement. Sometimes they stood at the edge of camp, watching the horizon, with tears in their eyes, aching for something they could not explain. They carried the burden of never belonging entirely to the circle, always half called by the world beyond it. Yet even in loneliness, their fire never dimmed, because they knew the tribe needed someone willing to keep walking forward no matter the cost. If you are a Sagittarius today, perhaps you have felt this same pull. The urge to explore beyond boundaries, to question limits, to chase experiences instead of staying safe. Perhaps you have been called reckless, inconsistent, too restless to settle. And maybe in some ways it is true. But just as it was in the tribe, this is not weakness. This is your gift. Because the world does not grow without explorers. The tribe does not survive without someone daring enough to walk into the unknown. Life, 10 million years ago, was merciless. Aries may have fought, Taurus, may have protected Gemini, may have connected Cancer, may have nurtured Leo, may have led Virgo, may have healed Libra, may have balanced Scorpio, may have strategized, but Sagittarius explored. Sagittarius left the circle of firelight, traced the paths of rivers, climbed the bones of mountains, and returned with visions larger than fear. Because Sagittarius wandered, the tribe discovered. Because Sagittarius dared, humanity expanded. So when you look at the stars, when you see the constellation of Sagittarius drawn like an archer aiming at the horizon, remember this truth long before maps, long before journeys were written in words, long before humanity dreamed of flight or ships. Your spirit had already taken its place. You were there, walking beyond the edge of safety, eyes lifted to the stars, heart chasing freedom. You were the explorer of the tribe.